Good afternoon. My name is Gillian Lollick, and I'm here to speak to you today about historic child abuse claims in Scotland. Where are we now? I wanted to begin today with a brief discussion of some recent case law. This is actually not a historic child abuse case, but is a more recent abuse case. This relates to the case of NM against Graham Henderson and the Scottish Ambulance Service, which is a 2024 decision of the Outer House in Edinburgh. So NM is a vulnerable young lady. She had previous contact with the Scottish Ambulance Service. She had PTSD and had had some previous suicide attempts. In November 2016, she first had contact with the Scottish Ambulance Service, and in particular with Graham Henderson, who was the ambulance technician on that occasion. He learned about her vulnerability at that time and learned about her past medical history. In April 2017, she took an overdose of propranolol. An ambulance was called again, and she was conveyed to hospital. Graham Henderson was again the ambulance technician, and he chatted to her in the back of the ambulance. He got her telephone number, and they appeared to begin to form a relationship. He collected her from hospital that night and took her home. It's not clear from the Outer House decision, but it appears that they did have sex that day and that a relationship began. That relationship was unfortunately very abusive, with threats of sexual violence, and she complained to the ambulance service in July of 2017, after which Graham Henderson was fired. And during the course of their investigation, she explained that she had felt indebted to him because he was the ambulance technician who had taken care of her. She then went on to bring a claim against the ambulance service and against Graham Henderson as well, and that claim was brought on three fronts. So we had a claim of direct liability against Graham Henderson, of vicarious liability against the Scottish Ambulance Service, and a claim of direct liability also against the Scottish Ambulance Service. This initially called at a debate on relevancy and specification in 2024, and that's where that original judgment comes from. Now, I'm going to touch on all three of these heads or these areas of claim, not necessarily in great detail for all of them, but I do think this is quite an interesting case, even though it is not a historic case.